Geetha, have you had a chance to look at the numbers? What jumped out at you?
Yes, of course, Romain, the big problem is the 3Q subscriber numbers. But remember, this was really a messy quarter just coming into it. Of course, we had that pull forward of demand, which the management team has spoken to many times. But there were other issues as well. There was new competition from Peacock, which is from Comcast NBC. There was also a lot of controversy with a documentary that they released, Cuties, and surrounding that, there was this cancel Netflix hashtag. So it was all in all a little bit of a messy quarter. We also had the return of televised sports. And so, obviously the media system then getting a little bit more fragmented with that.
So disappointment for the third quarter, slight disappointment for the fourth quarter look ahead. It's interesting how certain analysts had got way in over their skis, Goldman thinking that this quarter was going to give 6 million in terms of net subscriber additions. What then of the areas that did grow well? I'm looking at Asia, for example, APAC region, one of their biggest contributors in terms of the subscriber growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really what Netflix is banking on going forward as well. So when we looked at some of the download data as well, what we saw was growth was really, really strong in the APAC region. And that's really been because Netflix is really reducing their barriers to entry in that region. So they realized that their price point of, say, about $8, $9, $10 is not really going to work well in those markets. So what they've done is they've introduced all of these low-priced, mobile-only plans that is resonating pretty well with a lot of the consumers in that market. And I think that's the approach that they're going to take going forward. So kind of really have this bifurcation in their pricing strategy and really go after the emerging market in a big way. So again, as you point out, LATAM, APAC, definitely the big growth areas for Netflix.
Their negative free cash flow has been a thorn in the side of many analysts covering the stock. How are you thinking about cash burn and then an improvement in their cash position, or was that priced in?
Yeah, so this is something, again, that they've spoken about, and this has been like a burning issue for Netflix over the years. Of course, they had peak cash flow burn in 2019. Coming into this year, they said we're going to have about $2.5 billion. Then that went down to $1 billion, and then they said we might even break even or be cash flow positive. Remember, though, that this is really just a temporary phenomenon because a lot of their productions have gotten shifted out to 2021 and beyond. And so I think the big question now for investors is, is production ramping up? Because at the end of the day, they need content. They need that nice content pipeline stack in order for them to kind of stand up to their competition, in order for them to keep that subscriber momentum going. We are obviously then going to see that free cash flow burn pick up pretty significantly in 2021. But I think the overall thesis is we're going to see a little bit of volatility there, but they will eventually, maybe in the next 3 to 4 years, be a free cash flow positive company.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can get that content going. Caroline's already calling for season 2 of Emily in Paris. Geetha, on a serious note here, what about the idea of how Netflix sort of retains some of its subscribers? There was a report a few days ago about how it had gotten rid of that 30-day free trial, and there's been some chatter on the street about whether Netflix would have the power to raise prices and not lose too many subscribers in the process.
Yes, I think, Romain, really what has happened with COVID-19, obviously Netflix has been a huge beneficiary, but it's really been more the streaming itself in general. So it's kind of been this pull forward in industry, in the transition of the industry to streaming away from linear TV. And as you see Disney, as you see other competitors kind of double down on streaming, that's actually a good thing for Netflix because more and more people are leaving the traditional TV ecosystem. There's more time, there's more wallet for streaming. And I think Netflix really kind of becomes the anchor in that streaming bundle just because of the value proposition that it offers. So I definitely think there's quite a bit of pricing power. They just had a recent price increase in Canada. That's usually kind of a foreshadowing for a price increase in the US as well. And I think we're probably due for one in 2021.